The reason why this is important is because if you hire an independent contractor, then typically you don't have the legal obligations that you would normally have for an employee. For example, annual leave, pay as you earn, etc., etc. And an independent contractor does not have the right to go to the CCMA. So it might seem like an easier option. However, it's not as simple as it sounds. Here's why. Labor law in South Africa is very clear that the focus in determining whether a person is an independent contractor or an employee is more dependent on the nature of the relationship between the two parties. In other words, if a business owner wants to avoid the responsibility of having an employee and gives the person an independent contractor agreement, although in reality that person is an employee for all intents and purposes, then the law will deem that person to still be an employee, and that person will still be entitled to annual leave, to pay as you earn tax, to have the right to go to the CCMA, etc., etc. So what is the test? How does the law determine whether a person is an independent contractor or an employee? Let's find out. Hi, my name is Aslam Mullah and I am a registered attorney. So here's what the law looks at in determining whether a person is an independent contractor or an employee. The written contract that the person signed is only one factor that the court or the CCMA will consider. Other factors would be the manner in which the person works is subject to the control and the direction of another person. For example, if the employee is actually working for someone and they're telling them, hey, do this, do that, that's not really independent. That's more like an employer and employee relationship. The next factor is the hours of work. If a person has fixed hours of work, it's more likely the court's going to see them as an employee than an independent contractor. The next one is that person works and forms part of a company. For example, they attend weekly staff meetings, they have a staff email address, etc., etc. What the court will also look at is if the person is economically dependent on the employer. For example, if that person relies on a salary each month and they call it an invoice, etc., etc. Another factor would be where the employer actually provides the tools of the trade. In our terms, that would be a laptop, a company's cell phone, internet at home, etc. Another factor might be that the person renders work for only one person instead of a multitude of people. So as you can see, the court or the CCMA, in determining whether a person is an independent contractor or an employee, will look at a variety of different factors, and these factors will help the court or the CCMA determine whether the person is actually employed as an employee or an independent contractor. To avoid confusion or the risk of a dispute at the CCMA, it is highly recommended that when you enter into any form of contract which concerns a working relationship, that you carefully consider the terms of that contract. And if necessary, where the terms are vague or unclear, it's highly recommended that you have a lawyer peruse that contract carefully to make sure that either if you're hiring an employee, the terms are covered properly, or if you're hiring an independent contractor, those terms are also covered properly. If you need help in your situation, you're more than welcome to click the link below and book an appointment with our office. I wish you all the best and I'll speak to you soon.